the second half of part 16 to the revelation of Ryan Michael Wright, IÄSOUS CHRISTÓS, the one God. This is an awesome series. That first half I do have recorded, and I'm gonna break it into maybe 2 pieces and post that on YouTube. I did leave out a part about that life form. He said, man, so you could just joke around and play with how everything started. You know, I did say that though, and it was just like, how can you do that? It's like, wouldn't that, like, I mean, it's like messing with your own mind. I was like, no, I mean, it's you know, to me, it's just a joke. I mean, it's entertaining, it's funny, you know, see what you think about it. You know, I already know it's not true. It's like, wouldn't that mess the truth up if you know, play with? I was like, no, because, I mean, you know, it's not going to change the truth. Truth is the truth. It's immutable. It doesn't change. Then it wouldn't be the truth. And me being creator of all of existence is not dependent on whether or not I, you know, think a certain way at all times. I play around with that all the time. And so, of course, in saying that, I can have a life experience that's scripted, that's, you know, role playing, where, you know, oh, I don't know, I'm God, and you know, I live in Texas, and, you know, I'm just working a job, and that's all. You know what I mean? And so this is going to lead into the total destruction, because what I said about those movies, God was very versed in, you know, conversation. You know, these people. I say these people. I mean, you know, I end up calling. You know, I had to say, you know, proto angels, and there was a lot of them, man. They just couldn't get it. They didn't get it. And, you know, really, you hating on God, you know, just, you letting something else be the reason, you know. It was going to be, you know, and I kept pushing it back. It was another tree. Now, I almost was like, maybe I just I was like, man, it's almost like maybe I got it in me to destroy it. I was like, I mean, I couldn't, that wouldn't solve it. It was issues, and it wasn't just with life forms on planets. They could be. Then I created the life forms to say I upgraded those race of peoples on those planets to have not just asexual, but also to have male and female. So, if you, yes, I considered myself to be a man before I created woman. I was always existing. Nothing, the thing is, those proto-angels, they knew about, and the word was movies. They knew about the movies. And like I said, all the voices of the people that I were imagine I had scripted them to be like me, where they could think and were talking and they had voices, and the voices I didn't want none of the voices to sound like me. But of course, there were some movies where that's me right there, and I'm gonna do this and that. And so that, role would, did have my voice. And, there were voices that were higher pitched voices. All existing, creator of all existence. That's the truth. So of course, before I created planets, I mean, it wasn't where, I just happened upon creating a planet. And then I just happened upon creating life forms that were eternal and alive and hadn't thought further than that. Always existing. Logically. Come on now. I had whole movies. I had words. I was creating new words. I was keeping track of. I was using numbers to keep track of the words I had. I was other people. What would somebody else be like? So. It's just like what I was saying about introducing time. You create. I was creating life forms in a way where I felt like they're going to live and not just fade away or just die. The best way of doing that is to make them like me. To be similar in personality to how my personality is. And so, I like things like, even before, just taking it there just to, draw I liked war. Stuff you would say is extremely scary. And I considered myself to be a man. Before I had a body. So I was creating life forms to be eternal, to live forever, so that they would be real. And so the best way of doing that, it was to make them, just make them where they were what I would term as a man, just not with, you know, you can say that I was preparing existence for woman, excuse me, was a life that was not like me in personality. So even in the movies, that was something. I mean, I won't even go. It just that's something strange. Okay. The angels, they knew about the voices. They knew that I was going to create. I told them that I was going to create a woman. So, you know, I had outlined, you know, that existence was going to be masculine and feminine, and male and female genders. And what I was going to do was of the greatest importance, and it was something that couldn't be. It couldn't fumble what I was going to do. And so the creating women was going to be the greatest of my creation. It was my greatest work of creation. I've been planning it out. It was going, and everything I was preparing for the greatest of creations. And so I couldn't mess up. I couldn't. Let's just put it, I just put it like that to say mess up. It was just something. I mean, I had to get it right. It couldn't be a failure to where it was something where I had to keep trying, you know. And so I always, I would it put it off a little bit further because, if I was even having thoughts like, well, if I don't get this right, then would I lose confidence or lose hope? Or, like I said in those Revelation part 1, part 2, God was the name that I gave myself. That was my name. That was before I, had started keeping track of years. And so, when I did create Khaleesi Mama, and we were having sex, I fine-tuned my body, and when I created her, I fine-tuned her body. So that when I created her, I was ready and she was ready. And so I knew how I was going to fine-tune my body. I did it. That was part, when I fine-tuned my body, I had planned to perfection how I was going to create the first woman. I created her. To have a pussy, a vagina, we float in space, having sex. Woman, my greatest creation. Mama, first woman. I get the first woman right. She live forever. I create more women. Of course, I had to get the first woman right. And I did. I prepared her a throne. I actually already had her throne prepared and ready before I created her. So she sat on the throne. Angels knew the words: queen, marriage, man, woman, relationship. I had all this already before I created the first woman. I had these words. So there was not anything that was just sprung on the angels. And so with them being asexual, of course, I had to get first woman right. And as time went on, it was certain that I created her in perfection. She was eternal, and we were having sex bedroom, relationship, so I was telling